topic we have Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. Now this basically was to give free rations, and the thing is this was to be concluded by December 2023. Now the scheme was again extended to 5 more years. The thing is that it's a part of the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana package to help the poor fighting against COVID. This was again reiterated during the COVID period. Now the scheme is actually aimed at giving about per person again 5 kg or per family about 55 kg. This is for family. Now again an additional 5 kg plus 5 kg will be actually given along with this renewed bits. In addition to 5 kg of subsidized food, 5 kg of additional 5 kg will be also given. Now thus initially it was created for a period of about 3-month period from April, May and June, and it actually covers about 80 crore beneficiaries. Also along with the introduction of One Nation One Ration Card scheme, even the migrants workers could actually procure the food grain. The thing is that per state there is per PDA system and there is only one kind of ration card. When this person actually migrates to another state, the same ration card does not work, and that migrant worker is actually not liable to get any kind of food grains. So with this One Nation One Ration Card scheme, even a migrant worker from Bihar to Kerala could also get the food procurement under the same ration card. So that is the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, which was actually extended again to 5 more years. Delhi air pollution in severe category. Every year during the winter time we get the news that Delhi air pollution is severe. So in this we need to discuss 3 things. We need to discuss about the GRAP, that is the Graded Response Action Plan. Then we need to know about the air quality index, and then about the National Ambient Air Quality Standards. So these are the 3 important things which you need to cover in this article. So like usually during the winter time, due to stubble burning and the non-mixing or non-intermixing of air, there is a rise in air pollution in Delhi. Now this is basically at this 3rd stage or at the stage 3. So stage 3, that is kind of a severe air pollution. So this Graded Response Action Plan is actually introduced in Delhi. Now this Graded Response Action Plans is usually introduced in Delhi and this NCR region, National Capital Region Territory. Now this was actually formulated in 2016 and approved by the Supreme Court in the same year. It was notified in 2017 by a center. Now this was in 2016 that the Graded Response Action Plan was started. Now this is to institutionalize the measures to take when the air quality deteriorates. During each stage, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. During each stage there is some kind of recommendation that is actually given out by GRAP so that the air quality can be sustained and could prevent further degradation of the air quality. It also aims to roll out progressively tougher actions as pollution level rises. So that is the Delhi air pollution severe category. So if you are looking at what the GRAP is, as I told you, there are 4 stages within GRAP. You can see the stage 1 is where we call the poor category, where the air quality index, you can see if your response to air quality index, that is poor category 2021 to 3000, that comes in the between this. Now when it reaches grade 1, that is the stage 1 of GRAP. Then we have very poor category, this is 301 to 400. When we reach the air quality standard of 301, we actually enact the stage 2, where is very poor category. In this we will actually ban diesel generator sets, we will actually ban the coal and burning of fire fuels. Such kind of bans will be done so that the air quality does not further deteriorate. When we go to stage 3, that is air quality index 401 to 500. This is the severe category. Now presently Delhi is in this category of severe. This is actually stage 3 of GRAP. Now under this there will be certain policies that will be undertaken. Now there will be ban on the construction and development activities. Apart from the critical infrastructure projects like railway, all the other construction and development activities will be actually banned. Then they will actually regulate the operations of industries in the NCR, National Capital Region territories. Then they actually will shut down the brick kilns, hot plant mix, stone crushers. They will also ban mining and associated activities in the NCR. The state governments will also impose restrictions on the Bharat Stage 3 and Bharat Stage 4 diesel light motor vehicles. Now these are some of the measures that will be actually undertaken in Delhi in the coming days to actually like bring down the air pollution. Now stage 4, when it goes beyond 450. When it goes beyond 450, the stage 4 will be actually enacted. They will stop the complete entry of trucks into the Delhi region. They will ban or ply on Delhi registration diesel run, medium and heavy vehicles. There will be complete ban on these kind of heavy and medium diesel vehicles that is run on diesels. Then they will actually ban on the 4-wheelers and such and other diesel light motor vehicles. Then ban on construction activities, also the critical activities. State governments to decide on allowing 50% staff strength to work. Like majority of the people will be asked to stay at home and work, like work from home culture will be actually developed, and also may consider additional emergency measures like closure of schools, college and other educational institutes. These are the stage 4. Thankfully, Delhi has not reached the stage 4. We are currently at the stage 3, but this is also kind of severe. So when you look at this, be told this is the actually graph, the entire description. This is what the graph is, the graded response action plan. These are some of the initiatives that will be undertaken by the government when the air quality actually deteriorates. There is 4 stages. Stage 1 is poor, then very poor, severe and then very severe category. Now if you are looking, this is the air quality standard, as I have told you, AQI. Now all this is very difficult for a layman to understand. So these are actually AQI is one number, one color, one description. For its green 0 to 5, it shows that the air quality is very good. You can even see it from your phone. If you are seeing below the weather, you might get the air quality standard. In my phone, the air quality standard is 25 now, which means that this is actually in between the 0 and 50. It shows a very good category that the air quality index presently around the surrounding is actually very good. Then when there is a light green 51 to 100, it shows a satisfactory. 101 to 200, which is actually yellow, moderate kind of. Then we are going to the poor category, very poor and the severe category. Even for a layman, this color coding and the number characterization is much more easy to understand. One number, one color, one description. Now this is much more easy for people to understand, and this air quality index looks into 8 pollutants. 8 pollutants. We will look in the 8 pollutants in the coming slides. Now regarding the national ambient air quality, standards. Now this look into 12 kind of air pollutants that are available, and 12 pollutants are considered, which include sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter 10, particulate matter 2.5, then we have ozone, lead, carbon monoxide, ammonium, benzene, pyrene, arsenic and nickel. These are the 12 pollutants that are actually considered. If you are comparing national ambient air quality with the air quality index, the national ambient quality consists of 12 pollutants and the AQI consists of 8 pollutants. The pollutants like benzene, ammonia, pyrene, arsenic and nickel are these 4 are not mentioned in the air quality index. We can say like the benzene Ce6H6, then we have pyrene, then we have arsenic and then nickel. These 4 are actually not mentioned in the air quality index, but all the 12 comes under the national ambient air quality. Other 8 things like ammonia, carbon monoxide, lead, ozone, everything comes under the air quality index, but these 4, we have the benzene, pyrene, arsenic and nickel, these 4 does not come under the air quality index. You should remember these 8 names. The other things you should not need to remember, but these 4 is important that these doesn't come under the air quality index, but this comes under the national ambient air quality index. The basic difference is that this national ambient air quality index is very difficult for a layman to understand. Even for me, some kind of things are not understandable, but the air quality index you see there is very understandable to a layman. So we actually adopted AQI for standard layman verification, and for this this is for the other officials that they want to know. So that is the basic difference between national ambient air quality index as well as the air quality index. There are 12 pollutants, there are 8 pollutants. This was much more simpler and easier for understanding this basic one number, one description, one color identification, that is the AQI. So as you can see here, air quality index was introduced in 2014 as a measure of air quality categorizations. Like the national ambient air quality standards are not very easily understandable. So the AQI had to be introduced. It's one number, one color and one description for the ease of men to understand. The This covers 12 pollutants, whereas the AQI focus only on 8 major pollutants: benzene, benzopyrene, arsenic and nickel. These are the 4 things which does not come under AQI. So that is which we need to know about the pollution system that's happening. Then Medigaga barrage. Now if you see here, this is the Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project that is actually undertaken in Telangana. That is a Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project. This particular Medigaga barrage was recently sunk. This is basically due to poor construction. But the problem is that this entire thing, this based on the Godavari river, when this particular Medigaga barrage actually sinks, this actually poses a threat to the safety of the dam. So a lot of people are actually alarmed by this. The Medigaga barrage is also called as the Lakshmi barrage, as you can see from here. This entire project, lift irrigation project, actually relies on gravity and provides for the irrigation of the particular region. This actually is a gravity canal and then provides for the irrigation of the entire region. There were 7 major pillars within this Medigaga barrage, but all the 7 actually sunk, leading to a threat of dam safety. Now for the dam safety we have the National Dam Safety Authority. Now this Dam Safety Act actually came in 2021 for the surveillance, inspection, operation and maintenance of all the specific dams across the country. The act actually applies to country that is having height greater than, which has height greater than 15 meter and which has height between 10 meter to 15 meter with basic structural conditions. So for all these dams which has height greater than 50 meter and from 10 to 15 meter under certain structural conditions and designs will be actually surveyed under this National Dam Safety Authority. Now under this there are 2 national bodies, one there is National Committee on Dam Safety and then is the National Dam Safety Authority. This National Dam Safety Authority implements all the decisions that is actually taken by the National Committee on Dam Safety. So if you are looking, this was a bill that was introduced in 2018 and they also look into any kind of problems between the between unresolved point of issues between the state which actually share the dam territory, like we know the Mullaperiyar dam issues in between Kerala and Tamil Nadu and such. It also investigates the dam failures and the heavy authorities and dam failures and have the authority to fine the states if they are actually found to amiss implementing safety measures. Now it also licenses the state dam safety organization and owners of the dam for standardized safety related data and practices. In India we have about 5,200 large dams, out of which 450 are about in construction. We have about 5,701 total dams. Out of that 5,200 and close to 5,200 is in operational and we are under constructing 447 dams. We have the largest number of dams in Maharashtra. We have close to about 2,354 dams in Maharashtra, followed by Madhya Pradesh 906, Gujarat, Chhattisgarh and Karnataka. We had about 36 total dam issues, number of natural disasters that have took place in the dam. We have Rajasthan at the highest level, then followed by Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and such. If you are looking at the total world, China has the largest number of dams, close to about 23,800 dams, followed by US 9,200 dams, and then coming to India about 5,254 dams, followed by Japan and Brazil. So that is the overall dam and why there is a requirement of dam safety. Then you should also mention about the Dam Safety Authority as well. Moving on, we have the Dadia forest fire. Now this was one of the largest and the most deadliest forest fire that have happened or has been recorded by the European Union. This Dadia forest is actually an area in the Greece bordering Turkey. So you can see this is the area, this is the aerial view, this is the Greece and this is the Dadia, this is the Turkey, this portion is Turkey. This portion which you can see, this is Turkey and this is the Dadia region where the fire is actually burning in the eastern part. This Dadia actually shares a boundary with that of Turkey. You can see the entire landscape, a diversity has been actually shrunk, destroyed, pastoral lands, everything has been destroyed and more than 9,900 square meters of land has been destroyed by this forest fire. Remember the name Dadia forest is actually in Greece or in Europe. So you might actually get questions in the name of where you mention the names like places and then countries, Dadia, Greece. So that kind of questions you can actually expect for prelims. Then You have the Deep Ocean Mission. Now you might have heard about the Deep Ocean Mission. This was still recently in news in the science article page. Now the Matsya 600 is India's first manned deep ocean mission. We are actually planning to send 3 Indians to about 6 kilometers in depth into the sea. Now that will be helping us to explore the deep sea resources and the biodiversity as well. Now that mission, the endurance will be for 12 hours in the normal circumstances, but in the case of emergency it may be extended up to 96 hours, and we are planning to send about 3 Indians to about 6 kilometers down into depth of the sea. But India is not the first country to do such. We have the other countries like USA, Russia, Japan, France and China who has already achieved it, and India is actually entering into the elite club as well. Now this is actually for 6,000 crores and will send 3 persons to a depth of about 600 meters. This will also help us in the enable exploration of the ocean resources for the drinking water, clean energy and also blue economy, and will make deep sea mining and exploration a reality by about 2020. That you don't need to see, but the thing is that this is the Deep Ocean Mission, India's first manned depth ocean mission, and we are actually traveling deep in the Matsya 6000. That is the name of this container which we are actually seeing here. There are 6 key pillars that are actually mentioned under this. The first is the development of technology for the deep sea mining and the manned submarine, so that the 3 people can be actually carried down. Then the development of ocean climate change advisory services, technological innovation for the exploration and conservation of the deep sea biodiversity. Now this is not just for taking the 3 Indians down, but there is a lot more going for climate change, for the biodiversity conservation, for the deep ocean survey and exploration and identify of potential sites of multi-metallic hypothermal sulfide and other polymetallic nodules and such. Then so that we can actually, other problems is we can actually harness clean fresh water and energies and such. Also advanced marine stations for the ocean biology as a for nurturing talents and driving the craze towards us ocean biology. So it is not limited to one aspect, there is multiple aspects or multiple pillars for this deep ocean mission as such. Not just for the exploration, not just for the polymetallic modules, but for the studying of the ocean biology, for the construction of the energy and fresh water, for the identification of potential sites of all these potential minerals and such. So all this are the 6 main pillars that comes under the deep ocean mission. Then as you can see in this figure, the extraction of polymetallic modules. Now this polymetallic modules like copper, manganese, nickel, iron, cobalt are approximately found about 5,000 meters in depth of the sea. So what they do is they actually analyze the area, then they send the vehicle ship carry mining system, then they will actually send down the salt tester, then they will actually capture what are the minerals, and then they actually segregate all these minerals within the ship and then transport it to land. So this is one of the main mechanism of how they are actually planning to explore this polymetallic nodules. And in India, we have allocated about 7,000 square kilometers in the central Indian Ocean, as well as about 10,000 square kilometers south of India also. These are some of the areas which we have allocated ourselves where we will actually do the polymetallic nodules, PNM extraction. So our intention span to the depth of about 3,000 to 5,000 meters, so that we can actually extract this polymetallic modules as well. So that is the entire deep ocean mission. As summarized, this is not just exploring, but there are a lot of factors connecting and surrounding to it as well. Moving on, we have the Pegasus and the cyber threats. So recently in the newspaper, you might have seen that the Apple actually gave out some stating that there was state-sponsored attackers which is actually targeting some devices. Later last year, we actually heard about the Pegasus. Now that is an Israel-based company called the NSO developed this Pegasus, which is actually a spyware. Even without the user's knowledge, the Pegasus can infiltrate the mobile phones. Even without linking any vicious emails or any kind of links and such, this virus is actually can get into the user's phone and such. Now the thing is that the Pegasus project revealed that about 300 Indians became the victims of this Pegasus, and the Amnesty International verified about 10 of them, stating that it was a spyware from Israel-based NSO itself. Now this is an overhaul in the surveillance security. We have the IT Act of 2000, we have the Telegram Act of 1885, but none of this are in use because they don't cover these kind of state-sponsored attackers as such. They look into data protection and privacy and such, but the state-sponsored kind of attackers or these kind of new phenomena, so the use of spyware is actually not extensively covered in these kinds of acts given out. The legislative proposals by the Union government for surveillance reform do not exist. We do not have any kind of mega or big surveillance reform still in India. So, if you are looking, we have the Freedom in the World report, which is actually released by the Freedom Report. The Freedom House actually releases the Freedom in the World report. It tracks the global trends in the political rights and the civil liberty. Now, India had a status of free, like we are a free democracy, we actually gave out the freedom of speech and the freedom of press and such, but they actually changed the status from free to partially free, just because there was an issue with Pegasus, and alleged use of Pegasus on the Indian citizens, and because of it they have actually downgraded our status from free to partially free. Now, this Freedom in the World report is actually given out by the Freedom House. So, from targeting actors, we are not just targeting a single people, we are targeting activists, lawyers, opposition leaders. So, there are a lot of people who are actually victimized by this Pegasus as such. If you can see, like there has been a tremendous increase in the cyber crimes as such. In 2018, where it was 0.86, we can, in 2023, we have 11.5, and the future years by 2027, we can see the growth in the number of skyrocketing the number of cyber crimes worldwide. If you are looking, the most common type of cyber crime is actually phishing or skimming, like where you are actually sending a malicious mail or an attachment and the people randomly fall into the trap. So, such kind is the highest, about 3 lakh, followed by non-payment, non-delivery, personal data breach, identification theft, extortion, conference, romance fraud, tech support, investment. So, all these are some of the most common types of cyber crimes that are actually available. Please do actually remember this data. So, the total victim losses covers about $4 billion. So, that is how much the victim has actually lost over the time. Now, UK AI Summit. The thing is that artificial intelligence, a lot of people, like even Elon Musk has stated that the artificial intelligence has to be regulated, because they can actually take decision arbitrarily, and they are mainly unethical in practice because they don't consider the human emotion as well. So, the politician and the tech leaders, everybody gathered in the Bletchley Park, that is actually situated in United Kingdom. Now, there is something special about the Bletchley Park. During the World War II, Nazis actually developed an Enigma code. Now, this was some of the advances of sophisticated kind of codes that were actually developed by the Nazis in the World War II, and they were very proud of it. So, because of which these codes, they were actually using these codes to talk among themselves or communicate important emergent situations between the Nazi Germans itself. So, the British and the other allied powers, they wanted to decode these kind of enigma, these enigma code, and that took place at the Bletchley Park, where they were actually able to track down this enigma code and get what the communication is happening between the Nazi parties as such. So, that is what happened in the Bletchley Park, and this particular AI summit is also taking place at the Bletchley Park, and they actually give out the Bletchley Declaration, which affirms the need to address these kinds of artificial intelligence and the risk that is associated with the artificial intelligence, so that they will be more transparent and affordable, and they will actually be extraordinary, will bring out extraordinary opposition more transparently, and does not actually debar or degrade the unethical conduct as such. Now, this declaration was actually undertaken by 28 countries and the European Union, and this was published on the opening day of the AI Safety Summit hosted at the Bletchley Park in England. The declaration also encouraged transparency and accountability from actors developing frontiers of artificial intelligence. It set up two-pronged agenda focusing on identifying the risks, concerns, building the scientific understanding, also building cross-country policies to mitigate them. So, totally we are bringing the artificial intelligence and the transparency and accountability. So, that is what the entire summit has been talking about, and also you need to remember what is the history behind the Bletchley Park as well regarding the Nazis Enigma code. Then, oligopoly control of rare earth metals. The thing is that the rare earth metals are only present in some of the certain countries, and these are in demand because they are used for niche and everything. If you are looking, the rare earth metals are actually used in electronics, in rare minerals like phosphorus used in fluorescent lighting, latest then ceramics used in sensors, color coolants, then metal alloy used in fuel cell, steel, super alloys, glass and polishing used in X-ray, polishing compound, UV. So, these are some of the rare minerals that are actually used and these are needed. But if you are looking from this, you can see that most of this rare earth actually occurs, rare earth minerals and oxides actually occurs in some of particular countries. Like in China has the highest, and followed by Vietnam, Brazil, Russia and India. So, certain countries, like there is, the thing is that oligarchy is actually mentioned because there are small number of sellers and there is large number of buyers. Small number of sellers, large number of buyers. So, that is the condition of the market system relating to the rare earth metals. The small number of sellers actually control the entire market system relating to the selling of this rare earth kind of metals. So, the small number of producers work to restrict the output and or fix the prices. Now, so that they fix the prices based upon their signals and such. So, if you are looking from the above side, these are the distribution of the minerals, like the rare minerals. From the US you can see the beryllium and helium content, then from Brazil niobium, from you can see the Congo region, Rwanda, Congo you can see cobalt, Rwanda tantalum, South Africa we have certain kind of minerals, we have France, we have hafnium, then Russia palladium, Thailand natural rubber. So, these China you can see a lot more number of critical minerals as such. So, these are the global distribution and all these critical minerals are actually controlled by small number of people and they actually affect the supply of these kinds of minerals as such. So, if you are looking, you can see the rare earth metals, as I have told you, we have China, Vietnam, India, Brazil, Russia controlling a lot of this rare earth reserve. If you are looking, there is difference between critical minerals and the rare earth minerals. Rare earth minerals are just 17 of them. So, that is actually controlled by majority of these countries which you actually see here. Then we have the IL-38 aircraft. This is actually going to be decommissioned. It is basically a maritime reconnaissance aircraft and it has been working for about 44 to 46 years. It is an all-weather aircraft with long endurance and subtle, and now this particular IL-38 aircraft will be replaced by the P-81 Poseidon, Sea Guardian, Seahawk helicopter, all these from the United States of America. So, this particular IL-38 aircraft will be decommissioned shortly. Then we have the Zika virus. Now, the 5 villages of Karnataka came under the surveillance of this Zika virus. So, as you can see here, the Zika virus is an emerging viral mosquito disease, disease that is actually transmitted through mosquitoes, like it is mainly infected by the Aedes mosquito. Initially, you might not actually develop symptoms, but within a few days you will get the basic like pain, throat, rashes, fever, body aches and such. Now, this is actually treatable, but if it's actually affecting a pregnant lady, that could actually affect the fetus and such, and creating the child baby can be born with any kind of malformation or any kind of body damage as such. There is no vaccine or drug available for the treatment of the Zika virus, only the basic necessity. So, the main thing is prevention of these kinds of diseases. This can be transmitted also through the sexual interactions as well. Now, the mosquitoes, this affects if it affects a pregnant lady, it also affects the development of the child, development or disforming the child as well, and it can also affect the men, and it can also transfer via the sexual reorientation. There is no treatment or vaccine presently, therefore, these are the basic symptoms. You can say headache, conjunctivitis, fever, muscle pain, joint pain as such. All these are actually some of the symptoms that comes with Zika virus. If you are looking at the history of transmission, the Zika virus was first actually found in among monkeys in Uganda. In 1916, this was first case of human cases arise in Nigeria. In 1970s, we can see cases in Pakistan, India, Malaysia, Indonesia. And then in 2007, it caused an epidemic on the islands of Yap and Micronesia. Then in 2014-16, Zika appeared in the Brazil region and such. So, there has been a history of spreading of the Zika virus altogether. The first thing is, it was actually found in 1947 in Uganda. Then the first human case in Nigeria in 1960. So, that is the history of Zika virus. Now, Helicobacter pyrrhosis. So, this is a small bacterium which you can actually see in your stomach as such, and this actually grows in your stomach, but this is actually present in every human beings, but certain times this pyroli, this Helicobacter pyroli actually outgrows and actually start attacking the stomach lining as such. They actually can adapt and live in that acidic condition, and they can actually change the environment also. They can change their environment. The environment also reduce the acidity as well. Now this actually causes most of the ulcers in the stomach and small intestine as well, and mostly affects affect the children's. Mainly it happens to us during our childhood. This bacterium, as I have told you, can actually change the environment around it and reduce the acidity. The spiral shaped H, that is the H shape of this particular pyroli bacteria, allows them to actually penetrate the stomach lining. This, when it penetrates the stomach lining, it gets covered with the mucus, because of which all the other body's immune cell system cannot actually reach it. Then it actually thrives in our stomach and such, creating problems like ulcer and such. It causes aching or burning pain in your stomach. When you don't consume much food, it will actually increase your, when your stomach is empty, it increases the pain. Also we get loss of appetite, nauseous as such. Thankfully there is actually treatment available. There is combination of antibiotics and also a proton pump inhibitor, like you actually pump out the acid and such for 14 days. This treatment is also known as the triple therapy. So that is what is called the pyroli. The H bacteria, as you can see here, Helicobacter pyroli. Now moving on, we have the Akura Agartala railing. So you can see here, this is Akura Agartala from Tripura and Akura in Bangladesh, where they are actually trying to connect a rail link here. This was a much needed demand since the 19th century by the Assam's tea industry, which wanted a connection to the Chittagong port. This is mainly about 12 km long with about 6.7 km dual gauge train. This project was revived in 2010, but when the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh signed an agreement to rebuild the construction during Ms. Hasina's visit to Delhi. So this project has been going on for several decades, and after 7.5 decades, we are actually restarting this rail link again. So Akura Agartala rail link connecting Bangladesh and Tripura. Marlekota's Mubarak Manzil. Now this is a 19th century palace, Magura Mansikal, in the town of actually Punjab. Marleikota is actually a town in Punjab, and in this town there is actually a Mubarak Manzil, which has been actually created, and it has closely associated with the Muslims and the Sikh community present in the Punjab. So the last ruler was actually Nawab Iftikhar Ali Khan. He died and his wife has been actually living there, and recently the wife also died. She was actually 103 years old, named as the Begum Munwar ul Nisha. Her long dream was to actually restoring of this Mubarak Manzil. In 2021, the Punjab Congress government allowed for the reconstruction, but for the next 2 years no construction activities actually undertook there, and she died without seeing her dream being completed. Also this Marleikota significance has a very big significance in the Sikh history. Shah Muhammad Khan, a ruler in this Mubarak Manzil, has actually vouched against, signed or raised protest against the killing of the Guru Gobind Singh's son, Sahibazad Zorwar Singh and Sahibzada Fateh Singh, by Wazir Khan, the governor of Sirhind region. Like you might see the Sikh history. So Guru Gobind Singh's 2 sons were actually executed or killed. He actually raised a strong protest against it. Also the 10th Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Sikh Guru, was also stated to bless Nawab Sir Muhammad Khan and the people, saying that they will have long peace and prosperity. So that is how there is significance of Sikh history along with this Mubarak Manzil. Now there is a Muslim palace, and they also have a Sikh history related to it. So if you can see in the next slide, this is the Mubarak Manzil. This is the Mubarak Manzil as such. Now the next is the Butler Palace. This is actually a Rajasthani or Indo-Mughal architecture that has been shown here. The palace was actually originally built in 1915 for Harcourt Butler. This was actually built for Harcourt Butler, who was actually commissioner to Awadh. Now this was actually holding about the royal family of Mahmudabad. During the partition, they actually migrated to Pakistan. So migrated to Pakistan, and this property they have been managing from Pakistan. But the thing is that after the 1962 India-Pakistan war and 1965 Indo-China war, they actually changed the rules, and whatever properties that the enemy states like the Pakistan and China control in India will be actually stated as the enemy property. Whatever property that Pakistan and China owned in India will be named as the enemy property. So this Butler Palace also fell under this enemy property. Now then Lucknow Development Authority actually received a no objection certification for the redevelopment and also promote tourism at this Butler Palace, which is actually located in Lucknow. The LD also planned to rejuvenate the Butler Lake, construct pathways, landscapes and everything so that they can actually attract more tourism. The project also aims to create tourist attraction with a heritage look. So that is the Butler Palace in Lucknow. This has been actually commissioned for Harcourt Butler, and you should know why it's called an enemy property. Now this is the particular Butler Palace which we are used. Now if you are looking at the Enemies Property Act, the basic as I have told you is that the enemy properties there are left behind by people who actually migrated to Pakistan or China, considered as the enemy property. By this 2016, the enemy property was actually amended again, and it stated that the enemy property refers to any property that is actually belonging, held or managed on behalf of an enemy or enemy subject or enemy firm. Even if that they have an heir, that the bill denies inheritance rights to these enemy property also. The inheritance right is actually denied to the heir. If the heir is a Pakistani and this inheritance is actually currently denied to that person also. The enemy properties are estimated to be worth about 1 lakh crore and will be owned by the state for public good. The civil court and other authorities are not authorized to entertain the dispute related to enemy property. Also, the Supreme Court cannot actually do or give out any verdict related to enemy property. Like this does not come under the judicial review. Now the authority of the enemy property is actually rested with the custodian of the enemy property of India, that is the CEPI, which actually created under the Enemy Property Act of 1968. The amended law stated that the enemy property should continue to vest under the custodian, and they will not be actually given out as inheritance, or even if an enemy ceased to be dead or moved or even changed their nationality to Indian, the legal heir, the successor is Indian citizen or citizen of non-aggression, this property will be under the custodian of the CEPI and not under the enemy heir. Even if the person is dead or changed their nationality to Indian or such, this property will be under the CEPI only. A total of 9,400 enemy properties are there in India, and 9,280 are left behind by the Pakistani and 126 properties by the Chinese national. UP has the largest number of enemy properties, close to 4,991, followed by Bengal, and Delhi has 485. So this is the Enemy Property Act, and what are the provisions and what are the amended provisions under this Enemy Property Act. Moving on to the next slide, we have the Battle of Surabaya. Now there is a famous battle that took place in Indonesia. So November 10 is celebrated as Heroes Day of Indonesia. It is also called as the Hari Pahlawan. So this battle took place in November 10 in Indonesia between the Surabaya soldiers of Indonesia and the British troops. The thing is that there was a kind of miscommunication that happened there. In 1945, we know the British was at the side of Allied powers and such. So there was some kind of agreements taken between the Surabaya soldiers and the British that they will not ask the Indonesian troops to surrender. But later few days there was a plane moving, throwing away flyers stating that the Indonesian troops, the Surabaya troops, have to surrender to the British, or otherwise they will lose their strongholdings and such. This actually resulted in a battle between the Surabaya soldiers and the British as such. Now this fight for 3 days, the Indonesian soldiers were actually able to hold their fortified lands, but later it actually got to the British, and the war lasted for about 3 weeks. The Indonesian side, they had actually casualties about 1,600 to 6,000 dead people, but the British, they had about 600 to 2,000 people. The British troop also consisted of the Indian troops as well. So the November 10, they actually look into annually as the Heroes Day, which recognize the leaders who actually led this battles and such. So that is the Battle of Surabaya. This has been actually mentioned in the news in today's article. Then we have the korai pie grass mat. This korai pie is actually seen in Tamil Nadu, especially in the southern India. You can see it is a very long grass, and this long grass will be actually used to make mats like this. That is a korai pie grass mat, which is actually much more sustainable. And these are one of the traditional practices that are undertaken in Tamil Nadu and other South India. These mats are known as the korai pie in Tamil and are a testament to the skill, craftsmanship and traditional weaving practices that has been practiced in the South India. Now, because you know all the traditional practices are going away, this korai pie grass mat is also going out, and the newer generations are not taking much interest in the development of this korai pie grass mat. So, they are requesting the state governments to help revival of this traditional mat practices and such. Now, we have the mushroom coffee brand. This was actually developed in Kerala. Now, this will replace this will actually reduce the number of coffee intake. The thing is that this will reduce the amount of coffee we will be actually drinking within a 1 cup. When we are actually adding a cup of mushroom coffee, it contains only half the amount of caffeine than regular. If you usually use 50 grams of caffeine, here 25 grams will be mushroom and 25 grams will be caffeine. The thing is that it is very healthy, and majorly this is actually consumed by people who look into better healthy lifestyles and taking a diet and such. Now, this actually developed, this is in Kerala. So, La Bai, you can see here La Bai is one of the first kind of mushroom coffee brand that is actually developed in Kerala with the support of the Krishi Vigyan Kendra. It's also come up with the Koon Grammar. So, the local body has authorized about 100 farmers to help cultivate this mushroom and help the produce or productivity of the La Bay. Around 5 varieties are there. There is button, oyster, milk lion's mane, turkey tail, along with the organic Arabica coffee bean. So, that is this mushroom coffee ban. Now, this is not the first time such a mushroom coffee ban has been developed. After the World War II, there was actually shortage in coffee. So, they have been actually, this mushroom coffee was in play that time also during the World War II. Now, the origin of mushroom coffee go back to World War era, which is 1940s. Coffee was actually in shortage, so they actually developed Finland developed this kind of mushroom coffee as an alternative to the original coffee that was available. This variety of fungi actually grows in the back of a birch tree in cold terrains like Northern Europe, Korea, Serbia, Russia, Canada, Alaska and such. It has traditionally been used in these cultures in other parts of Asia as an immunity booster. So, that is one of the main benefits of using this mushroom coffee. The normal coffee or drink, there is actually we get the energy and enthusiasm, but the thing is that there are a lot of there is lack of benefits, or the thing is that there are certain limitations associated with the coffee that we are actually drinking. Then we have the Rohini Nayar Prize. Now, this is the second edition of the Rohini Nayar Prize, and this year it was actually given to Deenanath Rajput for his contributions. Contribution in the Basta region of Chhattisgarh. He actually created the Farmers Produce Organization, which employed about 6,000 tribal women. It helped in their activity members across the 4 districts. It changed their lives forever. It also helped the women providing them with an agricultural extension services, more independency. Also, it connect the global market. It helped him connect to the international global markets for their produce as such. Now, that is why his contribution, Deenanath Rajput's contribution has been undertaken, and the second edition of the Rohini Nayar Prize has been actually awarded to him. Now, this is actually presented in the memory of the late economist administrator Dr. Rohini Nayar. So, that is the Rohini Nayar Prize as such. Moving on to a last topic, we have the British Academy Book Award. Now, this year the British Book Academy Award is actually given out to Nandini Das, who has been named as the winner of the 2023 British Academy Book Prize for the Global Cultural Understanding. She actually wrote the non-fiction. Now, this book prize is specifically given out for non-fiction. This is not given for fiction, but this is actually given for non-fiction only. And she wrote the book non-fiction means purely stating facts and all. So, she wrote the book India, Mughal India and the Origins of Empire. She has taken the account of the arrival of the first English ambassador India, Sir Thomas Roe, in the early 17th century. If you have gone through the modern Indian history, you should know who Sir Thomas Roe is. She has actually come into India during the 17th century during the Jahangir time. And also this British Academy Book Prize is actually given to the best works of non-fiction. Celebrates the best work of non-fiction that demonstrates rigor, originality and have contributed to the public understanding of the other world cultures and their interaction. So that is the British Academy Book Prize. Remember the name Nandini Das, the work she has done relating to Sir Thomas Roe, and this particularly the British Academy Book Prize is actually given for non-fiction works only. So these are statements where UPSC might actually trick you and give you as a fiction, but it's actually a non-fiction. So that is, we come to an end of our class here. It has been a very lengthy session, as I know. We have covered a lot of films topic from November 1 to 6, about close to 29 topics we have covered from 6 days newspaper. So thank you and have a nice day, and I will see you again next week with more current affairs. So this time we will be actually preparing much well for our films as well. So thank you, have a nice day. If you like my video, like and share. Thank you and have a nice day.